K-Car Productions presents. Every ride is a thrill on the hanging Gruesome monster. Take a gravity-defying ride on this famous string-suspended coaster. Hurtle through the dark, fly past the strings, and bounce off the loop. At the end, you even get to make a splash. Newton's laws are laws that apply to every form of matter. There are 3 of these laws. The first law states that objects like to keep doing what they are doing. This law is also called the law of inertia. For example, when this train slows, the boxes on board want to continue moving at a constant speed due to inertia. Also, when this train goes around a corner, inertia causes the boxes to continue going straight. On the coaster, Newton's first law is demonstrated when the ball goes up the hill. When it is so, inertia keeps the ball moving forward despite friction slowing it down. Without friction, the marble would move at a constant speed instead of slowing down. Newton's second law states that the acceleration of an object equals the force applied to the object divided by the mass of the object. A corollary to this is that the force that an object exerts on another object is equal to the mass of the object times the acceleration. An example of this is a car versus a train. The car accelerates quickly due to its small mass. However, the train has a larger amount of mass, and so it accelerates slowly. If the train had an extremely powerful engine, then it could accelerate at the rate of the car. On the coaster, Newton's second law is demonstrated when the marble hits the block. The mass of the marble is large but its acceleration is small, so the force it exerts on the block is small. The force on the block is small but the mass of the block is also small, so it accelerates at a medium pace. Newton's third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Note that the reaction doesn't act on the same object as the action. For example, when this train exerts a force onto another train, the other train exerts a force on the first train, stopping it. On the coaster, Newton's third law is demonstrated when the marble collides with the block. Because the marble exerts an action to start the block exerts an equal and opposite reaction on the marble, which slows the marble.
Acceleration is a change in speed or velocity. Positive acceleration is when an object speeds up. An example is a train accelerating out of a station. Centripetal acceleration is when an object changes direction. An example is this train going around a curve. Negative acceleration is when an object slows down. An example is when this car slows to a stop at a train crossing. On the coaster, positive acceleration is demonstrated when the marble goes downhill. Centripetal acceleration is demonstrated when the marble goes through the loop. And negative acceleration is demonstrated when the marble goes uphill. I know each type of acceleration is occurring on the roller coaster because when the marble goes downhill, it speeds up. When the marble goes through the loop, it changes direction. And when the marble goes up the hill, it slows down. So that's how I know each type of acceleration is occurring on the roller coaster. The marble traveled 248 centimeters in 5 seconds. The average speed of the marble is 49.6 centimeters per second. Friction is a force that opposes motion between 2 surfaces that are in contact. Objects in contact slow down due to friction. Without friction, objects would not slow down when they are touching. When the hills and valleys of one surface stick to the hills and valleys of another surface, friction is created. The material that makes up a surface affects the magnitude of friction. Using lubricants is one way to reduce friction. One way to increase friction is to make the surfaces rougher. The 3 types of friction are sliding friction, rolling friction, and fluid friction. Sliding friction occurs when 2 flat surfaces slide. An example of sliding friction is when this train applies its brakes. Rolling friction occurs when a surface rolls on another. An example is this train's wheels rolling on the track. Fluid friction occurs when a solid travels on a liquid or gas. An example is this boat floating on the water. Rolling friction is demonstrated throughout the coaster. When the marble rolls on the track, the surfaces involved are the round surface of the marble and the flat surface of the track. Sliding friction is demonstrated when the block slides on the ramp. The surfaces involved are the flat surface of the block and the flat surface of the ramp. Fluid friction is demonstrated when the block splashes into the water. The surfaces involved are the flat surface of the block and the liquid surface of the water.
By the way, this is a diagram of the coaster.